Welcome back, or welcome here for the first time if you're brand new. Either way, I want to welcome you here. I'm David Greenberg, and today I want to talk to you about the number one ingredient to sell more. The number one thing you need to be more successful in sales. Now, I'm going to be speaking more specifically about high-ticket sales, but you can apply this to pretty much any type of selling. Also, I'm going to address this whether you are selling your own product or service, in other words, as a freelancer, or maybe a business owner, or if you happen to be a closer or appointment setter or a sales rep working for someone else, basically selling someone else's product or service. That's fine either way, because the truth is the number one ingredient is going to be the same in all of these cases. In fact, it's always going to be the same thing. So what do you think that number one ingredient is? Just before I give you my perspective, just comment below. What is that number one thing that you need more than anything else that's going to make the biggest difference? And I'll give you a hint. It has to do with your state of mind. It has to do with your state of mind. So let's see who got it right. The number one ingredient to be more successful in sales is conviction. Basically, it's you knowing, you not just believing, but you knowing the value of the product or service that you're offering. You knowing that it's worth at least the investment that you're going to charge for it. And you know that it can help. It can serve for the purpose it's meant for, assuming that it's sold to the right prospective client, meaning someone who's a good fit. And like a lot of things, this goes on a sliding scale. It's not binary. It's not you know or you don't know. There are levels of conviction. So basically, your certainty, your confidence in the value of the product or service is the most important factor to being able to sell that service well, all other things being equal. In the context of having a conversation with someone who is a reasonably good fit for what you're offering, but hasn't made a decision one way or the other. Whether you're selling your own service or whether you're getting on calls for someone else, it's the same thing. So let's talk briefly about if you're a business owner selling your own service. There are a few things that could get in the way of that certainty, of that conviction. Could be a new service or a newly launched version. You may not have as many years of experience. You may have changed the way that you deliver the service. There could be a lot of things going on. And that's all cool. There's no reason why you can't sell something that's brand new. But you just need to be aware of all these factors. So it's really important when you go to build out the service and price it out and then offer it, that you have a lot of certainty along the way. And if you need to go back and dive in deeper, that's okay. You might be shaky. And the truth is, if you are shaky about the value, that's going to show up in the sales conversations, and that's going to have an effect. If you have been delivering a service and it hasn't, let's say fulfillment hasn't been great, and you know that. Now you may say to yourself, oh, despite the fact that there's been some hiccups, this is, you could tell yourself a story, but deep in your subconscious, there's going to be a splinter. There's going to be a little bit of dissonance. So in that case, it's actually more important to go back and figure out how to improve the service if you want to sell it more. You're not going to be able to lie to yourself and deny that. Now, if you are a closer or a sales rep, setter, any type of sales professional who's selling someone else's product or service, the same thing applies, except now you are part of an ecosystem. But you still need to have that conviction. How do you gain that? Well, you build a relationship based on trust with the business owner and the team, and that you make sure that they expose to you as much information as they can about the service, how it's delivered, and the results as they have been up to this point. Good, bad, and ugly in transparency, right? Because no service is ever going to be perfect. There's always going to be experiences, clients that don't work out. That doesn't necessarily mean the service is a bad service, but when we take it all in context, you'll be able to see that. So if you're a sales rep going into a new work with a company, the first thing you should ask for them before you ever get on the phone or on a Zoom call with a client or in person is make sure that they inundate you with as much information as possible about how it all works and what have been the results. Testimonials, speaking with current or previous clients, anything at all. The more you get exposed to that, the more of a clear picture that you're going to have. And you'll, of course, like I'm saying, there is no service that is perfect. So if there have been hiccups, if there's been, clients that maybe didn't work out, things like that, that's okay in context, as long as it's not the usual case, as long as it's not what is typically going on, right? As long as it's the outlier. And as long as the company demonstrates a desire to go back and fix and modify and change anything that can be done to improve the service as a result of what was learned from that experience, rather than just trying to brush it under the carpet. When you have this certainty, either as the owner or the sales rep, all other things being equal, essentially you become, you can outperform other sales reps. You can outperform others. You will go beyond in your results. It doesn't mean you're going to sell everyone. Of course, that never happens. But you will shine brightly as a sales, and you will, not only that, but even people, whether they buy or don't buy, they're going to have a great experience interacting with you, because that conviction that you have is contagious. It's going to spill out, like having a cup that runs over from being overflowed. You're going to have an overflow of conviction, and that will translate into the way that you interact and your certainty. And in fact, the more certain you are, the less you will need any particular sale. Like, you won't feel needy about it, because again, it's not a belief. You know that this is the bee's knees. You know that this is the shit. This is a great service. And why wouldn't somebody want to acquire it? And anything else that comes in front of that, that's cool. We can deal with that. But there's no question about the value, right? So this is the one thing that, if you are struggling with your sales, if you're struggling to get the results, and if you wanted advice on what's the one thing that you could look at first and foremost to make the biggest difference in the shortest amount of time, that is to go back and ask yourself, how certain are you? How tight are you with the value of the service? How clear are you in your own mind, in your heart, in your whole being? How much do you embody that entirely, that this is a great service for those who can benefit from it? So that's the first thing. And if you can go back and ask yourself good questions in order to clarify that, and then figure out what the gap is, because there might be a gap. And if there is, you can say, okay, this is the gap. If you're the business owner, that gap could be, I need to bolster my self-confidence that I have the ability to deliver this. Let's say you're delivering a coaching or consulting service that you yourself are delivering. Maybe the gap is your own certainty and your ability to deliver that. Well, that's what you're going to need to work on. Maybe you're uncertain about how the service is structured in terms of pricing, what's included, and so forth. Go back and evaluate that. Maybe get some help with someone, another set of eyes to look at the offer and to reflect back to you that it's worth it. Look at the return on the investment for potential clients. What does that look like? Can they get a good return within a reasonable period of time, assuming they follow the whole process? So you're going to need to look at it holistically. If you've had some hiccups in terms of service delivery, go back and address those. Don't beat yourself up about it, but yes, go back and do what you need to do to bridge that gap. Now, if you're a sales professional who's closing someone else's and there's a gap, you need to have a heart-to-heart with either your sales manager or the owner, whoever's in charge, whoever is the owner of the product or service. And you need to sit down and make it clear to them that you want to have more conviction and more certainty about the service, and you need their help to do that. And honestly, you may find yourself as a sales rep walking away from working on certain offers, from selling certain offers, because the owners or the business was not able to satisfy the need to bridge that gap. And that's okay. Again, that's something, if you decide to do that, that's cool. Give yourself permission to do that. But always first try to bridge the gap. Always first try to bridge the gap. Just make it clear. Look, I need to have more confidence about this product or service. What can, show me more testimonials. What are we doing about this? Explain to me this and that. Ask good questions about it. Because here's a little hint. If you're a sales rep, think of yourself not as an employee or even a contractor. You're a business partner. You're a business partner. And in a way, that's true, because commissions only reps who are, let's say they earn 10% of the revenue, that's a business partnership, because the business owner is splitting revenue with you. That's a type of partnership. So you're a part business owner in that regard. So look at it as though you're an owner, and what would you want to know and what would you want to see or do in order to have more conviction about a product that you partially own, a service that you are a business partner to. You see how that works? And that's how I approach it. Every time that I've been a closer or a sales rep for an offer, I'm always looking at myself as a partner. And I expect transparency, and I expect to be involved in that. And if you're a business owner who has reps and they're struggling, make sure you look at this too. And if they come to you and ask you to clarify, take that seriously, because if you just brush it under the carpet and say, oh, maybe it's the rep's not that good, and you try to, maybe there's some turnover, guess what problem is going to keep appearing in your business? Guess what problem is going to keep showing up over and over again? Because it hasn't been addressed at the root causal level. That's right. Conviction. So I hope this has been helpful. If it has, leave me some comments, some love on this video. Reach out if you have any specific questions, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.